Recently, one of the most famous and controversial Americans was assassinated in front of thousands of people. This person was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a very polarizing figure who stood up for his own Christian and conservative beliefs while debating against the liberal ones. Hello, my name is Jace Terrell, and I have watched plenty of Charlie Kirk's videos as well as thoroughly researched him with the hopes of getting each of you to not only agree with my views on him, but also to help you open your minds a little bit. Maybe even encourage you to stand up for what you believe in your life. So, whether you agree or disagree with his politics, Charlie Kirk deserves respect for embodying core American principles, including standing up for his beliefs and fostering dialect in the place of violence across the division of America. I'm going to explain this overarching proposition by first defining respect, the characteristics that Charlie Kirk had that deserve respect as well, connecting his actions to the actions done by the founding fathers of America, and finally by revealing and providing insight for his own heart and beliefs. Now, before I move on to the other three, we need to make sure that we are on the same page for what respect is and what deserves respect. According to the anonymous writers on dictionary.com, which is currently the leading online dictionary in the world, the definition of respect, updated in 2023, is to have esteem or a sense of worth or excellence for a person's abilities or qualities. Nowhere, as I hope you notice, in this definition does it say anything about agreeing with the person you may have respect for. For example, I may respect Richard Dawkins for his intelligence as a Christian, but I also don't necessarily agree with some of Richard Dawkins' beliefs. This definition talks about respecting abilities or qualities in a person. Now, these abilities or qualities might be something like courage or intelligence, public speaking, kindness, all of which exceed the amount of which humans typically have. So now that we've provided a basis for what respect is and what deserves respect, I want to talk about why Charlie Kirk fulfills some of these things. And all we have to do to find that is look at what he did in his life. Gareth Evans, who's a writer for the well-known and claiming to be impartial news network BBC, in an article titled Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer who became the voice of MAGA youth, in September of 2025, gives an overview of what Charlie Kirk did throughout his life, which includes starting Turning Point USA at the age of 18, holding open debates at college campuses under the premise of prove me wrong without a college education, helping run the presidential campaigns of Trump, all of this while being a husband and father to his wife and 2 kids. These simple facts as to what Charlie Kirk did reveals characteristics about him that are deserving of respect. For example, he started Turning Point USA at age 18, and that grew to what it is today, a national movement. This reveals some of Kirk's high intelligence, as well as his determination. He was also willing to debate openly and respectfully with the people he knew hated him and his beliefs. This respect was exemplified in an uncut video, except with coarse language bleeped out, posted on YouTube in 2023 by the conservative organization Turning Point USA, titled Lots of Rage and No Wisdom, and it features a man who walked up to Charlie Kirk at a college campus and started cussing him out and calling him names. He called him racist, he called him hateful, he accused him of many things. Now, Charlie Kirk, throughout the midst of this, remained calm and tried to get the person to have an open, rational debate, which was unsuccessful, unfortunately. However, the man left, and Charlie Kirk remained calm the whole time and even wished the man a nice day. I hope this reveals the respect Charlie Kirk had for other people he knew hated him and outright opposed him. Now, with this in mind, it's important to note that a lot of the things he did also reflect some of the main core American values this country was built on. My proof for what a core American value is comes directly from the U.S. Constitution website, and is simply the First Amendment. First Amendment was written by James Madison in 1791, and it encompasses the freedom of religion, freedom of press, and most importantly for this context, the freedom of speech. Before America was a country, the British forced very specific ideologies, policies, and taxes on the colonists, which resulted in the colonists revolting and the formation of the United States of America. Charlie Kirk stood up openly for what he believed, no matter the consequences, which ultimately led to his assassination. Just like the Founding Fathers stood up for what they believed, even if it could have led to their own brutal execution. When looking at this from a point of view on the legal side of things and not a moral or opinionated view, Kirk did nothing wrong except exercise his freedom and his right to his freedom of speech. Now, finally, before I conclude, I want to provide evidence that will hopefully hit at the heart of Charlie Kirk and possibly allow you to respect him even more. He was asked 3 months before his assassination in 2025 in an interview hosted by Jack Selby on the podcast The Iced Coffee Hour, what would he want to be remembered for if he had died? And Kirk responded with one simple sentence: "I want to be remembered for courage for my faith." He said, that's the most important thing, is courage for my faith. Now, as I hope you noticed, Kirk didn't say anything along the lines of what he had accomplished in his life or what he wanted to be remembered for through that. He wanted to be remembered for standing up for what he believed. And this courage, this boldness, ultimately led to his death. That is why he deserves respect, for standing up for what he believed in, even if it meant his own death. Now, as we wrap up our time, I want to thank you all for listening to my speech. I know a lot of you may not have agreed with or liked Charlie Kirk, but I hope I provided a bigger picture as to what Charlie Kirk stood for and why he should be respected. He was a very polar figure, but in his actions, he embodied core American values and stood up boldly for his beliefs. And I hoped I was able to reveal why he should be respected by defining respect and what deserves respect, why Charlie Kirk himself deserves respect, why what Charlie Kirk did reflects some of the main core American values, and finally, the heart of Charlie Kirk and what he wanted to be remembered by. I don't only want you all to respect Charlie Kirk, but I also hope that you will each stand up for your own beliefs. If you're proven wrong, be humble and admit your error, but by no means give up if your beliefs are challenged.